The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Someone told me a few months ago there was a group of people from a certain shul. We'll call the leader Yaakov. Yaakov was a respected Talmid Chacham, and he organized a group from his shul to bake matzot on Erev Pesach after Chatzot, which is very important, in the basement of their shul. And it was very costly. They had to buy a matzah oven. And they went around the shul, who wants to be in the group? We're going to bake matzot in the basement of the shul. And they gathered enough people. And they were so excited. They bought the equipment. They cleaned the basement. They were all set. Everyone had a job. They couldn't wait for the day. It's the night before. They're in shul for mincha. All of a sudden, this man, we'll call him Daniel, comes over to Yaakov, and he said, my children and grandchildren all decided to come to me for Pesach. I want them to have the experience of the Erev Pesach Matzot. We're coming tomorrow, and I want 12 jobs. Says, what do you mean you're coming tomorrow? We did this already. We asked you. You didn't want to come. You didn't want to chip in. He didn't say that. But that's why. He didn't want to chip in. And this man had money. Now the night before, no one even asked for more than 3 or 4 jobs. You're asking for 12. Yaakov, who's a Baal Midot, just told him, I wish I had 12 jobs for you. The truth is, every job is taken. Maybe if you come, we could try to fit you in. Daniel was so upset. He started bad talking nasty to Yaakov. How dare you, this, that. And he insulted him right to his face. Yaakov, there's nothing that could frazzle him. He said, I'm sorry, and he walks away. The next morning, Yaakov turns the oven on in the shul, early in the morning, getting it ready for the 3 o'clock appointment they have. It's going to be hot. What happened after that is mind-boggling. At 1 p.m., Daniel walks in with his entire family, and they bake matzot on their own. They use all their equipment. They used When Yaakov came in at 2:30, he couldn't believe his eyes. The place was a wreck. And they left dough all over the place. Everything was chametz. And he realized what happened. How could they do this? And to make matters worse, Daniel calls Yaakov at 2:55, right before his appointment. And he says, you have the 12 jobs for me now? Rubbing it in. Yaakov, if you would have exploded on him, it would have been understandable. You know what Yaakov said? When do we have a chance to bring a Korban Pesach to Hashem in the year 2022? I could bring my own blood and not respond. And he said, I'm not going to let this Jew get embarrassed from this. I'm not going to tell anyone what happened. And he took the blame himself. True story. When they all came in at 3 o'clock, he said, I'm so sorry. The water got overturned on the flour. Everything became chametz. I will reimburse you all. We're not going to be able to bake matzahs today. He had to deal with all of the angered individuals. But he said, I'm not telling anyone. To make matters worse, it was going to be $3,000 to reimburse them, which the money he didn't have. He said, I got to get it from Daniel. But he felt so bad. Daniel was going to eat stolen matzot on Pesach because it wasn't theirs. He says, I don't want him to eat stolen matzot. I'm going to forgive him for the money so he could get the mitzvah. Unbelievable. After Pesach, this Yaakov gets a phone call from a child of his abroad. tells him, we didn't want to tell you, but my daughter, your granddaughter, she was diagnosed with terminal cancer right before Purim. And it's getting worse now. We have to tell you. He said, oh no. What could we do? He starts thinking, I want to do something for her. He starts thinking about the $3,000 he just paid. He starts thinking about, he said, Hashem, if you will heal, in the zechut that you will heal my granddaughter, I forgive Daniel for everything. I have nothing, no grudge. I'll forgive him totally. One week later, the doctor told the parents, I don't know what you guys did, but your daughter is cured. Story just happened. The value of being able to be better, this story wouldn't have even been known if not for one of Daniel's grandchildren in shul telling someone, we came in 1 o'clock, and one of the shul members overheard. They said, what? That was you? And they looked at the video cameras and they saw what happened. Daniel has since made teshuvah. He's going through a rough time right now, and he asked to publicize the story as a zechut for him, to help him with what he needs now. The world runs on our actions, and the more heroic they are, the greater the zechut is.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org